I have just came across some veteran benefits that I think do not get mentioned enough. And this is going to be one of those, man, I wish I would have known that, or I wish I would have known this type of deal existed. Today we have Brian, who is an Air Force veteran and travel agent. And just to throw this out there, I do not get anything from this video. There's no affiliate fee. I genuinely believe that this is an untapped benefit, and Brian is a good friend of mine. Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Thanks a lot, Clayton. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on today. My name is Brian Sims. I separated from the Air Force after 26 years of service in 2020. After working a little bit time in the civilian sector, I've now decided to take my love of travel and my passion for experiencing new cultures to helping others travel the world, have great adventures, and doing so in a way that doesn't break the bank. So I'm happy to be here with you today, and I'll be providing you some resources along the way that you can utilize to make your travel go more smoothly and safely, and hopefully you can go to the places where you've always wanted to go with your family.
Yeah, for sure. And I think veterans with VA compensation, maybe they have more opportunities to travel than most, right? And so, how I came across about a travel agent is I actually just booked a Disney cruise for my family. My kids don't know about that trip. We're really excited for it, and that's going to be our Christmas present. Uh, they don't watch YouTube, so they're not going to be able to hear that, right? And that's what really brought the travel agent scene to my attention. So, Brian, how we're going to do this is I'm going to ask you a few questions that I think most veterans want to answer. And to start off, and you mentioned it perfectly, where can veterans travel without breaking the bank, right? Because money is always the number one concern for most people. And so, what is your 2 cents on where veterans can travel?
There's an endless number of possibilities, Clay, where veterans can travel without breaking the bank. In the United States, there are so many different options. One that I love myself personally and have utilized a couple of times here in the past few months is to visit national parks. The National Park Service offers free access to active duty and separated veterans after they go through a verification process. A lot of times you go to a national park and there's a park entry fee. Veterans qualify for discounts at lodging in national parks. So I've recently visited the Grand Canyon. I visited up in Boston on the Freedom Trail and Acadia National Park. And we were able to visit those locations without having to pay park entry fees. So if you're going to be traveling in the United States, I highly recommend you consider visiting our nation's national parks. There's so much to do, so many great, beautiful places to see, and you can do it very affordably. A lot of veterans have heard about but have never really explored the Armed Forces Vacation Club. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
providing a link to Clay later on. He'll load it on the website. But Armed Forces Vacation Club offers deeply discounted lodging and tours and attraction tickets at a really greatly reduced rate. One that I've utilized most frequently in the past is buying my Disney park tickets through Shades of Green. Veterans have access to deeply discounted park hopper tickets through the Military Salute Program, and Shades of Green offers those at a window there on site. I recommend that you purchase those ahead of time so you don't get there and take a chance that they're sold out of that type of ticket for the time that you're going to be there. But we showed up at Disney recently. I went in, made the purchase of the Military Salute Park hoppers, and we were in the park that afternoon within a couple of hours. So those are just a couple of the ways veterans can travel without breaking the bank. If you go onto the web and search veteran travel, there are going to be literally hundreds of options that you can search from to help you travel more affordably. One other thing I'll mention is if you are not opposed to getting a travel credit card through either American Airlines loyalty program or Delta loyalty program, United Airlines loyalty program. So many of those programs offer access to travel benefits on cruises, hotels, reduced rates for baggage fees or extra baggages without charging. So I would highly encourage your viewers to look into registering or applying for a travel credit card that gives them benefits. The more they spend, the more benefits they earn. They can utilize those for travel or for hotel stays, accumulating points through loyalty, and to help assuage the cost of airline fees. So that's another way that they can take advantage of benefits available to the general public, but specifically here for veterans.
Yeah, so that was generally domestic, right? When you look at relatively speaking, security in America is going to be a lot better than foreign nations, depending on where you go, right? And so when you look at international travel, there's definitely going to be ways veterans can travel internationally without breaking the bank. But there's another concern, and I would love to hear your 2 cents on security, not necessarily security clearances, but just the security as a planning factor when you're traveling internationally, especially if you're bringing kids, your spouse, your partner, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, it's a great question, Clay. As you're aware of, many veterans separate from the military and they'll take a civilian position with one of the government agencies, or they'll go to work with one of the defense contractors. And those jobs oftentimes include maintaining their security clearance. And one thing I'll always recommend to veteran travelers is that if they have a civilian job after service and they're maintaining their security clearance, it's critical that they give notification to their employer that they intend to travel abroad on a personal vacation, or if they're going to take a cruise that makes a port of call at a foreign location. There are required reporting requirements that they have to go through their facility security officer to let them know they're traveling. They are required to give them a foreign travel briefing, notifying them of any travel advisories of the location they're going. And they also have to receive a foreign travel debrief so they can ask some questions about whether or not the individual who maintains a security clearance had any weird contact with foreign nationals, or people ask about their job or where they worked or what kind of work they did.
Hmm.
Uh, Military veterans are a huge target for foreign espionage operations. So veterans need to be aware of where they're going, what they plan to do, and what the policies and procedures are for the organization they might work for in terms of foreign travel notification. And I'll provide you a link to the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency unofficial foreign travel reporting and activities checklist so that the veteran can make sure they don't miss any of the steps that might jeopardize their clearance or get them in trouble with their employer. It's really important that they pay attention to that. In my organization where I worked most recently, we asked the employee that had a security clearance to give us 30 days notice. Sometimes that's possible, sometimes that isn't. One of the other things that I will mention is um, uh, travel insurance as it relates to foreign travel
Okay.
specifically. If you're in a position where you are either a first responder or you work for a government agency that might support the military or support our nation's response to civil unrest or weather related event, you might have leave or PTO approved, and then at the last minute, that leave or PTO gets canceled, and you have an obligation to serve to support an agency responding to any number of events. Travel insurance will protect you from losing your investment in the travel. So many times you have to place a deposit or you have to pay far in advance. And so you may be making a financial obligation to travel before you ever have an approved PTO, paid time off, or leave. And then at the last minute, it could get canceled. Travel insurance will protect you from loss in that case. And so I really encourage veterans to consider travel insurance, specifically when they're traveling abroad on vacation in Europe or taking a cruise somewhere. You don't want to lose that investment, and you could be protected with travel insurance. So make sure they pay attention to that. Almost anywhere you're booking travel will give you the option to buy travel insurance. It's an investment that you might not ever see back. In the event you need it, it really does protect the veterans. So I really encourage them to look at travel insurance.
Oh yeah, and I'm a federal employee myself. I went to 2 countries recently, and I had to follow the travel guide for those listed countries. It's a super easy process, right? I just reached out to the intel section, and said, "Hey, I'm traveling to these countries. What do you need me to do?" And that unit had its own separate form internal to that unit. It took about 5 minutes to do. It's not really a big deal. I think it becomes a big deal once you start traveling, and then you don't tell anyone, especially if you're going to questionable countries, and we'll just kind of take that at face value and not dig deeper into that. But but Brian, the biggest question I have for you is, I'm a veteran, I want to travel. One, I want to know, how can veterans get in touch with you? And two, more importantly, why would a veteran consider a travel agent like yourself when they're planning to do their own travel?
All right. I appreciate it, Clay. If any of your viewers would like to contact me to have further discussions on travel, I'm happy to speak with anyone that reaches out to me. The easiest way to contact me is through email. My email address is brian.sims@fora.travel, and I'll provide the link for to
Mhm.
that to you later on so that you can post it on the site. Or if they visit foratravel.com, that's foratravel.com, there'll be a search window. They can search my name, Brian Sims, and it'll pull up my profile and a place to click to contact me to discuss their travel opportunities. And the travel industry is growing, and many people are finding that utilizing the services of a travel advisor gives them access to perks and other benefits that they might not find when they're booking hotels or airlines or excursions, tours, and adventures on their own. A lot of times, working with the travel advisor, we're able to find you the same price that you can find on the general population on a website, or better rates. But because of our exhaustive network of partners with hotels, we have thousands of them worldwide. We have destination management companies that offer tours and excursions. We bring volume to them, so they're able to give us perks and additional benefits that a traveler might not get by booking on their own. So that's one of the primary benefits of working with a travel advisor. Unless it's a huge group trip, most travel advisors might not charge a planning fee. If we're planning a huge trip with 60 or so travelers, we're having to make individual reservations for each individual traveler. It
Mhm.
might incur a planning fee to account for the time it takes to do that. But for a family traveling, generally the travel advisor is compensated through commission from the service provider, either at the hotel, the airlines, the cruises, the destination management companies. And we save the traveler time by doing all of the research, the legwork, all the time that it takes to find those interesting tours and those exciting adventures overseas or here in the United States. That takes a time and investment. And if you're working full time, you've got a family, they're involved in sports, the travel advisor can do all that work for you. They provide proposals. You can go back and forth on what you like, what you don't like, until you reach an itinerary that you're ready to book. The travel advisor could do that and generally get it for you at the same or a better rate than what you'd find online. And it'll usually include perks and benefits that you won't see otherwise, but the travel advisor will have access to. So those are just a couple of reasons that working with a travel advisor can benefit a veteran traveler. Um, One of the other things that I always do whenever I'm booking any client, whether they're a veteran or a family or friend, I always go to the Department of State Safe Traveler Program to look at any foreign travel advisories that are listed for a particular location where one of my clients is going. And I will recommend this to your viewers, specifically veterans. that before you take a foreign trip, that you go to the Department of State website and you register for the location where you will be traveling and put in the dates and give them a contact information, because in the event that there's an emergency, a weather related disaster, or some form of civil unrest, the Department of State will send you automatic updates on what you specifically need to do to maintain your safety. Or if an evacuation is ordered, you can receive evacuation order instructions directly to your form of communication. So I'll provide you the Department of State Safe Traveler Program link as well. Uh, Especially for veterans and their families traveling abroad, I recommend they register ahead of time so they can have that information in the unlikely event that they need it. It surely would be helpful for someone to know that they were there, that they needed assistance, and to get that information on where to get assistance or where to go without having to dig through it. And then one other thing I would say is working with a travel advisor in the event that changes happen while you're overseas or while you're traveling in the United States. Uh, you might have to make changes, and making those changes oftentimes takes hours. If you've worked with a travel advisor, they can make those changes for you while you're enjoying your time with your family at the
Mm.
pool or at the beach or going out on some adventure, rather than sitting at a hotel or a coffee shop getting internet service trying to make those changes for you. So uh, I would say that would be another benefit of working with the travel advisors. They do all the legwork for you, and should changes occur, they can orchestrate those changes without it occupying your time away on leave or PTO. So consider that as well.
Yeah, and one last thing, Brian, is you also give the travel agent side, but you're a veteran yourself. And so you kind of get that double whammy of saying, hey, there are some veteran benefits you can take care of, or you can use this benefit as well as these benefits, right? And so there are some situations where you may be able to rope those together. But that's all we really have for now. Thank you so much, Brian, for coming on to the channel. And for everyone watching, all of Brian's contact info will be in the bottom of the description. And so if you're looking at travel now, 6 months from now, next year, next season, wherever that looks like for you, planning is important, right? And Brian can help you plan that. But Brian, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Clay. I appreciate you having me on. Have a great day.
Yep, you too.